Let's start. So this is a third session, guys, and as I told you, this will be a third trial session for everyone. And going forward, their link will change only and it will be shared only with the enrolled candidates. Okay. Now, let's quickly start with a questionnaire of the topics which were done on day one and day two. Just in case if you're not a part of day one and day two, please let me know because I randomly pick people and I ask the queries. So let's go ahead. Yashwant. Yashwant, can you tell me what exactly is an application in PEGA? Yeah. Yashwant, am I audible? Are you in? Yashwant, can you speak out? Okay, let's move it to uh, Prajakta. Prajakta, can you tell me about an application in PEGA?
Applications are the collections of rule sets
Mhm.
in which one application is built on another application. It is a collection of rule sets.
And what is a rule set?
Rule sets is a collection of rules.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Thanks, Prajakta.
Thank
I'm
you.
just checking who are present in the last few sessions. Ravikant, were you in the last two sessions? Can you tell me about Access Group in PEGA? Ravikant? Okay. Guys, in case if you don't know the answer, it's time for you to self-validate what you're doing in the initial days itself. Actually, because I don't know who are present in the last two sessions and who are not after the, out of all these people. So just in case if you're present and if you didn't listen to the recordings or you didn't go through after the session, please make sure you set it right away because we are still in the initial days of the sessions, and if you don't revise the content, okay, within a week you will be off track. You will start having backlogs. Okay, please make sure you listen to the recording at least once after the session and make sure in the next session you answer queries on that. So it is a self validation for you. If you're not able to answer now, you will not be able to answer in the interviews as well. Same thing is applicable there. Let me ask another question, to another person. Ashok Kumar, can you talk about application in PEGA? Ashok Kumar Reddy. Ashok, are you in? Same thing.
I can tell, Nikhila.
Yeah, Suresh, please go ahead.
Application, I think, as the other person said, it's set of rules.
No, I was
It's
asking
any,
about the Access Group.
okay,
Access Group.
access group.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, you repeated. Okay, yeah. Access group is nothing but which defines your role, or not even role, what type of access you have. You can group developers into one access group, all which gives you access to a project. You can define different type of access group. I think you gave an example of Gmail users, Gmail admin, and even in PEGA, I think PEGA developers or PEGA Dev Studio, who grouping a set of users into different accesses.
So, what does an Access Group contain inside? So, what is present inside the Access Group?
Okay, access group contains the application name
Hmm.
and release or the version of the application at a high level.
Hmm.
Those are the two
Okay.
things.
What else? What else do you have it?
Again, I think at a high level, it defines who can enter the application or who can access the application.
Okay.
And that,
Okay. So
to
Suresh.
give an example, as an I join a new company,
Hmm.
I would be added to access group. If I'm a developer, I would be
Hmm.
access to a developer
Right.
group,
Right.
access group, where I get an application access, and I
Okay.
can start developing.
Suresh,
If I'm an
from your
admin, I will be part of
so Suresh, from your
it.
answer, I
Good.
understood that you got the content properly, okay? But still, the phrasing is not well, okay? You got the content, but I'll just tell you the phrasing. If somebody asks you what is an access group in Pega, just tell them, access group gives you access to an application, okay? So maybe on the same server I'll be having multiple applications like Gmail, Google Drive, Google Docs, lot of things. So if an operator needs to have access to a specific application, first we create an access group. Inside the access group you mention the application name, which application he needs to access, and the most important thing is the portal, because the same application will have different users, right? A manager, a user, a developer. So we have to mention the portal and followed by that roles. Okay, so access group
Okay.
is nothing but it grants you access to an application. It also contains the portal name and the roles. And we map access groups to the operators. Any changes made in the access group will impact all the operators who are tagged to it. Okay, yeah, thank you, Suresh. Okay, guys, if you answer, I can correct. I can correct your phrasing and I can tell you where the things are going wrong in your answers. If you don't unmute and if you sit, I will even stop asking questions because nobody's interested to answer. Right? So please answer something, whatever you know. Now let's move ahead.
So, Nikhila, one
Yeah,
question.
Vinod, please.
Application is nothing but a project itself, right?
Right, application means a project. That's it.
Okay.
Okay. Um, Let me. Sneha, can you tell me like what exactly is an application in technical terms?
Yeah, hi Nikhila. So application is nothing but a group of rule sets. So
Okay.
different rule sets we group different rules we group into a rule set so that quick if any a rule has to be known or seen, we can able to go into that rule set and we can quickly verify the rules. So a group of rule sets is nothing but an application.
Okay, so you're right. A group of rule sets is nothing but an application, and the reason we have rule sets is we want to organize them in a better fashion. You can dump all the 100 rules directly under application, but we want to organize them. See, even if you take Java or any other tool or technology, what do? You will have classes, classes will have rules under them. Why are you having classes? You're just organizing the rules. So these rules under one class, these rules under one class, you organize them. The same concept here. Okay, rule sets will have rules under them. We use rule sets just to group the rules to organize them in a better fashion. Okay, now let's move ahead. Can somebody tell me about an operators in Pega? Who is an operator? Where it is stored? Anyone? Can you please tell me about operators in Pega?
Hi, Nikhila, this is Sai.
Hey, Sai.
So, operators in general, like any user using the application of Pega is called operator,
Mm-hmm.
and these operators' IDs are stored in the Pega application uh, data
Table.
table.
Mm-hmm.
It's like data table PR underscore operators.
Perfect. Mm-hmm. So, what does an
And
operator contain? Like, how do you define this operator gets access to this particular application? What do you mention in the operator ID?
uh, in operation, in operator ID, we specify the what the roles and responsibilities of the operator. For instance, like whether the operator is like developer or admin or from the
What
business
what do
side.
you call that particular thing? What do you call it?
Uh, I'm sorry, I'm not
Uh,
getting the question.
access.
Right.
Access group.
Access group.
Okay. Access group. So
All right.
rephrasing the answer. So operator is nothing but
So
it is just a credentials, a set of credentials, a username and a password created to access the Pega application. Now, what does it mainly contains? Access group. This access group defines which project you can access. So it defines which project of the application I can access. Now, most importantly, operators are stored in a table PR underscore operators, and it contains the personal information, professional information, and your passwords.
Mainly it is created in Dev Studio, right?
Right. Mostly, yeah, mainly we create it from the Dev Studio. We never do it from the database directly because we have a column called as PZ, PV stream, a blob column. It will not get data if you directly create it from the database. We create it only from the Dev Studios. And most importantly, only admins can create operators. Create, update, and delete operators can be done only by the admins. Okay, so I think this is what pretty much we have discussed. We have spoken about operators, access groups, and portals, and application and rule sets and roles. I think we have spoken. Anyone, can you tell me what exactly is a portal in PEGA? Anyone?
It
Shiv?
is just an UI. It is
Case,
just the
it is a case manager, if I'm not wrong.
Place where we land as soon as we log in. We have different portals like the
Right.
portal
The
manager
web
portal,
page, the web
user
page that you
portal.
see upon logging in, that's it. So whenever you get into Gmail, what do you see? When you get into Instagram, what do you see? When you get to Amazon, what do you see? The pages that you see upon logging in are called as portals. Now, if you're a developer of Amazon, you will see the code. If you're a manager of Amazon, you will see the reports. If you're a user of Amazon, you can log in, purchase products, ask for a return, ask for a replacement. So portal is nothing but the web page that you see upon logging in. Okay. And one access group can contain multiple portals. And please make sure you can select, make sure you select one of them as a default portal. So whenever you log in, the default portal will come first, and later you can switch to the other portals like this. Okay. Any other questions on these topics on operators, access groups, application, portals, roles, and rule sets? Any questions
So
on
is
these
it
things?
that you're saying,
Mhm.
yeah, is it that you're saying that we only use three portals in Dev Studio?
No, no, no. I didn't say we only use three portals. See, three of them, four of them come here. Dev Studio, App Studio, Admin Studio, and Prediction Studio will come here. Rest all additional portals will come here. Like whatever you add, I have Case Manager. Let me add another portal, like User Portal or something. User Portal. Okay, save. Now just a refresh.
And they should be on the same server too, right?
See, portal is nothing but a piece of code that
Right.
you have written in the application. So of course it will be on the same server. It's not a different application, right? It's a piece of code. I have designed a web page. Portal is a web page. So you can see, Vivek, you can see the additional portals here, okay? Like this. Whatever you add here, they will come here.
Yeah,
Only
got it, got it.
four studios will come here.
Just a drop down
It
thing,
is
whatever
it
we
is a
use.
drop down. It's a menu.
Yeah, so whatever we need, we can add it in
You
a,
can add. And
right?
please understand that it is nothing but a web page. A developer is designing it. Portal is a web page that I design for my users. Okay. So as per the client requirement, we design and we map it here.
Fine, got
This
it,
is,
Nikhil.
Okay.
what is the difference in PX and PY here then?
These portals are Pega's built-in
Uh-huh.
portals. Difference between PX, PY, and PZ we'll discuss down the lane. But for
Okay.
now, just understand that they are Pega's default portals.
Yeah. Four of them.
Okay. But in real time, we create our own custom portals. As per my client requirement, I will design my portals like what my client requires in the left panel, what my client requires in the top panel, what he requires in the center panel. So as per the requirement I got from my client, I'm going to design it. So whatever you're seeing right now
Hmm.
is like built-in portals of Pega. You may or may not use them. Choice is yours.
But by default, there are only four, right? App and
There are studios, portals. You have more.
studios. Four, yeah.
You have more. Like you can see a lot of them, Satya.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sunita, can you tell me about the various portals we have? Sorry, various studios we have in Pega?
Yeah, hi Nikhila. We have four studios, Dev Studio, App Studio, Admin Studio, and Prediction Studio.
Okay. Can you tell me the use of each?
So yeah, Dev Studio is used by the developer team to create rules, and App Studio is used by non-technical team like BAs, managers, etc. to create workflows, DB
Operators,
tables,
access
operators,
groups, they do all that.
yeah, access groups. And for admin studio, it's used by the admin people to manage background servers, cache, jobs, nodes, and also about something about queues, I
Hmm.
remember. And then prediction studio, it's used by the data scientists.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so that's with the questionnaire, guys. Let's quickly jump into the new topics. Okay, anyone, any questions before we jump to the new topics? Any questions on the completed concepts? Any questions on operators, access groups, portals, application, rule sets?
In a very high level
Mhm.
difference between access group and a role, they are very close.
Access group, no, they are not actually. See, you like see access groups, roles, and you will be learning about role to object privileges and some more things. They are all they all come under the security things in PEGA. So access group gives you control over the application. So if you look at this, access group tells me which application I can access. Can I access Go IBBO, or can I access, PEGA DM or PEGA rules or whatever? So this is application level control. It will control which project a user can access. Now, how about this one? This will tell you, what functionality a user can see, or what is not visible to him, what is not available to him. So this is like rule level control, you can say. So I can take a rule and I can add a condition in that rule saying that this button should be visible if and only if he has this particular role, or this text box should be editable if and only if the user has this particular role. So it's like controlling the access at rule level you do. This is at complete application level, so you're diving deep. This is at a high level. This is a little bit inside. You get into the code, and this particular report should be visible only if the user has this particular role. So you're like, granular control you are doing using roles. This is a high level control. Just you have access to this project or not. That's it. Now, maybe you and I, both of us, have access to this Go IPO project. But let's assume that you have access to a specific report. I don't have access to that report. Although we both have same application access. Why? That's because maybe you have this particular role, I don't have it. So that's how we control at a granular level using these roles in PEGA.
Thanks, Nikhila. Got it.
Okay, super. Anyone, any other questions before we jump to the new topic? Yes,
Yes,
please.
we can.
Mhm.
Yeah. As you mentioned in the roles, for customize checkbox or for that purpose, you said that we will add the roles, right?
Mhm.
For selecting the thing or for thing. Uh, is it customized or it will be the roles will be the default one, or we will
No.
customize for a
No.
specific
We are going to customize and create. Like your application has nurses, doctors, patients. So you will create that like
Hmm,
Apollo colon nurse, Apollo colon doctor, Apollo colon patient. So you will
okay,
customize and you will
and
create as per your project requirement.
okay, fine.
Okay.
Yes, we
Yeah, just okay. Let's pause all the questions. Let's jump to a new topic today. So next topic. So yesterday we spoke about application and rule sets, right? Let's go more in depth about rule sets and all these things. So let me first open an application in PEGA. Here you can open the application. There's a crosshair icon you can open from here. Or the other way to open is, this is my application. Go here and click on definition. So I'm opening my application rule. Now, application is nothing but a set of rule sets. It's just a collection of rule sets. And sometimes one application will be built on another application as well. End of the day, all your projects are built on PEGA, right? So you will be seeing the Pega's theme Cosmos, which is nothing but the UI thing, and finally the Pega's PEGA rules. All built-in rules are here. Forget about these things for now. Application is just a collection of rule sets. Now, why do we have rule sets? Because we want to organize the rules in a better way. Okay, so that it is easy for us to maintain and easy for us to deploy the code. Now, this is a rule set. Okay, now does the order of rule sets matter here? Yes, it matters. The sequence in which you place the rule sets does matter. Okay, it's very important from your interview point of view. This is called as application validation. So what is application validation? Application validation means the sequence of rule sets which you place in the application rule form does matter. So how does it matter? The rule set which is at the top is considered like a child rule set. The rule set which is above it is a parent. So Go IBBO is a child, Go IBBO int is a parent. And Go IBBO's int parent is SR Travels Transport. SR Travels Transport parent is SR Travels Transport int. Whose parent is SR Travels? Whose parent is SR Travels int. So like this is the innermost child, this is the topmost parent. Okay, so they have inheritance between them, so they have parent and child relationship between them. So what is the benefit of having a parent and child relationship between the rule sets? So if I have some piece of code in this rule set, suppose I have some flow in this rule set. Okay, this rule set.
Hello, Nikhila.
Nikhila, you're
I'm sorry, actually.
yeah, please.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Nikhila. Nikhila, like here in this case, which is a parent one actually. I think I'm because Go, if you see, sorry, I'm sorry actually.
Okay, let me complete, Nagraj. I'll just repeat it again. Okay, just let me complete.
Okay.
Okay, see, topmost ones are the child's, bottommost ones are the parents. Okay, so what is the benefit of having this sequences? Suppose here there is some flow. Okay, there is a flow called as registration. So from here you can call this flow and you can reuse it. Similarly, let's say for example here there is a screen called as registration. So this, 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 and this can reuse the code which is present here. Okay, so these are all childs and this is the parent. So based on that, you can reuse the code instead of rewriting the code. Like I have a screen called as registration here. I want to build a screen here. Don't build it. It's already there here. Reuse it. Similarly, I want a flow registration. It is present in this layer. Okay, don't build it. You can reuse it because they are your parents. Just like in real time, you reuse your parents' property, right? You can inherit their property, lands, money, gold, whatever it is. Similarly, in the coding, they can reuse it. So this is the child, this is the parent. Whose parent is this one? Whose parent is this one? Whose parent is in whose parent? So this can reuse the code of this, and this. This can reuse the code of this, this, and this rule set. So, like that, you get code reusability, you get inheritance. The sequence does matter. So, tomorrow in my project, if I'm introducing a new rule set, if I'm creating a new rule set, I should be extremely careful. Don't just go and blindly add it wherever you want because the sequence matters a lot. If you add it at the utmost top, it's a child of all these rule sets. If you add it at the utmost bottom, it's a parent of all these rule sets. So please be careful. Think about the uses of the rule set and insert it at the top, bottom, or center. Wherever you want, you can insert it. Okay. So any questions on this one, guys? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. One frequently made mistake, what people do is they will create a rule set, they will create some rules under it, and they will forget to add it here. They will forget to add it here. So then they start testing the code and they, break their heads thinking that why is my code not working? Why is it not getting picked? The answer is simple. Your application is made up of only these rule sets. Okay. But Okay, one second. I can even show it from here. But look at this. In my machine, okay, in my server, I have this many rule sets. Okay, so if you created a new rule set and if you didn't mention it here, then it is not considered as a part of your project. So whatever code is present in that rule set will not be executed. Why? Because I didn't mention it here. If I don't mention it here, it's not a part of my project. If it's not a part of my project, why will my project execute it? So that is the reason. Please be aware that if you are creating a new rule set in your project, you have to come and mention it here. If you don't mention it, it's not a part of your application. Then the code will not be picked, it will not be executed. So this is one commonly made mistake because you're in a hurry. You create the code, you do the development, and you do everything, and then at the last you forget to map it in your application. What's the use? It will not execute. So make sure you map it here. Okay, so just once again, application in PEGA is nothing but a collection of rule sets. Rule sets means collection of rules. Rules means any piece of code that you wrote that you can execute, like a function, a flow, a method, a report, a SLA, whatnot. Just whatever you have created, a piece of code that you have written is a rule. Now, the sequence of rule sets here does matter. It's called as application validation. So the topmost rule sets are the child rule sets, the bottommost rule sets are the parents. So what is the benefit of having this parent-child relationship? You can reuse the code. Just like in real time, how you inherit your parents' property, the child can inherit all its parents' rules. It can inherit its parents' rules. So that is the benefit of it. And if you create a rule set and if you don't map it here, then it is not considered as a part of your application and it will not be executed at runtime. So please make sure you map the rule sets here. Any questions, guys? Anyone? Ravichandra, do you have any questions? Surisati Ravichandra. Ravi, are you there? Any questions? Please speak up, guys.
Nikhila,
Mhm.
when you're clicking on add rule set, it is creating a seventh row that is utmost parent. So is there any
No,
way?
no, 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 no. So if you keep it here and you delete this, it'll come below. If you keep it here and you just say like this, it'll come below. And you can even move it up and down like this.
Okay, the cursor point is making that
Mhm.
adding rule.
Just moving,
Okay,
but
thank
you can move it up and down like this.
you. Okay.
But in the real-time application, Nicola, ideally the
Mhm.
flow should be thought through. Based on that, we should break into, I mean, at least logical and a paper rule sets. Then it should come here,
Mhm.
not dynamically adding unless until there is a change in the requirement. Correct.
Right, right, right. We don't generally create too many, but if you're creating a rule set, you should be very careful. Like, is it a child, parent? You have to decide all that and keep it in the sequence.
Good. So
Okay.
generally, who does the designing of the rule sets?
LSS, lead system architects, some senior persons in the team will be doing it.
Okay, and they give what each rule set should be defined, what it should have. Then it's a matter of coding
So they
by
only
the
create the rule sets, they only map it in the application. And the junior developers or the developers with less than 8 years of experience, they are only involved in the coding, the creating the rules and mapping under the rule sets.
creating that. Okay, gotcha. Yep.
Yeah, one small question in that.
Yes, please.
Yeah, see, once we have adjusted all these rules, right? I mean, parent and child relationship or maybe the inheritance will take care automatically, right?
Yes, it will take care automatically. Just the sequence you need to mention. Pega will take care who is the parent and who is the child.
So no need to open the rule set and declare this is a parent and this is a child, like
No,
that.
no need to mention that.
Okay,
And there is no
thank
place
you.
to mention like that anywhere.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So Rupa, do you have any questions? Rupa Tota? Any queries on this topic? Rupa, I see that you unmuted, but looks like there's some microphone issue. You were not audible. Okay. Let's move ahead. Rupa, you're not audible. Still see that you're unmuted, but somehow you're not audible. Let's move ahead. Now, let me open any rule set. Okay. So just next to the rule set, you see this crosshair icon. It means I can open a rule set from here. Okay. Now here is my rule set. Okay. So let's talk what exactly is a rule set. As I kept mentioning since yesterday, rule set is nothing but a collection of rules. So if you say this rule set has 170 rules under it. Okay. And here you see application validation, rule set validation. There are two options, right? So very important from interview point of view. People ask you, what is application validation and what is rule set validation? Application validation means in the application itself, I will mention the sequence of my rule sets. And as per the sequence, PEGA will decide who is the parent and who is the child. The topmost one being the child and the bottommost one being the parent. Now, what is rule set validation? So currently we are working on PEGA 8 version, right? In prior versions of PEGA like PEGA 4, PEGA 5, PEGA 6 and PEGA 7, what we people used to do is this concept was not there. Okay. So what we used to do is this we used to do. So this was not there earlier. We used to have rule set validation. Rule set validation means whenever I create a new rule set, okay, I have to mention like this. This is my current rule set and these are the parent rule sets. So like this, I have to mention for every single rule set version we used to mention. I'll talk about versions in the next few minutes, but just understand that for every single rule set, we have to mention who are its parents. So every time we used to mention like this, which is quite difficult for us. Okay. It's not like if I have to make a change, I have to open every single rule set, every single version, and I have to make a change. So not good from maintenance point of view. So starting from PEGA 8, they came up with this application validation. Simple. In the application rule form, you mention who is the parent and who is the child. Otherwise, in earlier days, in the rule set, we used to mention who are the parent rule sets for my current rule set. That is called as rule set validation. Okay. So rule set validation is now deprecated. Then if it is deprecated, why is this option still present here? Backward compatibility. Okay, so rule set validation came into picture in PEGA 8. So how about projects which are upgrading from PEGA 4, PEGA 5, PEGA 6, PEGA 7 to PEGA 8? You have to give backward compatibility, right? So for that purpose, you still have this. Okay, otherwise this is a deprecated feature. Nobody is using it today. This will soon be removed. Down the lane, they will remove it. Any questions on this? This is interview question, guys. So if you're not clear, please ask me, I'll explain you. Shashidhar Reddy, are you clear
Hello,
on this?
Nikhila.
Yes. Yes, Nagraj.
Yeah, Nikhila, regarding this application validation,
Hmm.
like whatever the rule set validation is there, the same is aligned in the application validation now.
Okay. See, rule set valid the function. Okay, Nagraj, can you please go on mute? There's a lot of background
Right.
noise. Okay. So say the concept is same. Rule set validation or application validation is what is the concept? You just want to mention that these are your parent rule sets so that you can reuse the code from them. Okay, the concept is same. The only thing is like in application validation, in one go you will decide who are the child and who are the parents. In rule set validation, in every single rule set, suppose in this rule set, okay, I have to mention who are my parents. Okay, now take another rule set. There also you have to mention who are your parents. So every single rule set you have to mention who are your parents. So which is a tedious task, not easy from maintenance point of view. Actually, I didn't teach you version set. To be frank, for every version, we maintain that who are the parents. So that is really difficult for us. So this is quite easy. In one go, you can mention who are your child and who are your parents. Okay. Otherwise, the end goal is same to decide who is your child and who is your parent. But maintaining it in multiple rule sets, maintaining it in multiple versions is something difficult for us. Okay, so now they made it easy like this. Okay, Nagraj, is that clear?
Yeah, Nikhila, thank you.
Okay. Shilpi, do you have any questions?
No, I got it.
Nikhila, any interview questions on this? What kind of interview questions we can expect from this topic?
Okay. So this is an answer to everyone, guys. Guys, if there is an interview question on that concept, I will talk about it. But please understand that every concept will not have an interview question, because I came across this even in my previous batches. On every single topic, they'll ask me what are the interview questions. Not on every concept people ask you, guys. People only ask you on the complex areas, like integrations, listeners, background processing. Mostly on those complex areas only you will expect most of your interview questions. So in this area, this is the only interview question you get, because this is a new feature that came up in PEGA 8. It didn't exist in older versions, so people ask you question on this one. Okay. Other than that, there's no more questions that you can expect on a rule set or application or operators or access groups. Nobody asks you on these questions. They're just basics of PEGA. Okay. So no one will ask you on this. This is because something new that came up in PEGA 8, they're asking. Otherwise, this wouldn't even have been an interview question. Okay. Now, please remember this. This is called as application validation and rule set validation. Okay. Remember the words. They may ask you in the interviews. Now coming down to this, you have something called as versions. So every rule set will have versions. Now let me show you a PEGA rule set. You can see how many versions they will have. Look at this: 811, 8199, 821, 8299. They have a lot of versions. Do you see this? They have a lot of versions. So we'll talk about rule set versions now. Okay. Now what exactly is a rule set? It's a collection of rules. Okay, so rules means any piece of code which you can execute, we call it as a rule in PEGA. Like functions, methods, all these are rules in PEGA. Now every rule set will have something called as version. Rule sets will have versions. That means a number. Okay, we'll have a number given to it. Now why do you have versions? Simple, guys. Take an example. Okay, let's say for example you are using WhatsApp. Okay, now WhatsApp came up with a new requirement called as WhatsApp UPI payment. So let's say your WhatsApp latest version is not working good in your phone. So what will you do? You will take the backup, and you will reverse to, you will roll back to the previous version of WhatsApp. Or let's say for example WhatsApp deployed the code, and suddenly it was not working properly. What will WhatsApp dev team do? They will roll back to the existing code. So you can roll back to the existing code or existing application if you and only if you have a backup copy of that one, right? So if you don't have a backup copy of the existing code, how can you roll back? You can't roll back. So this is where the versions come into the picture. Okay, take your operating system. So I can use Windows 7, I can use Windows 10 in my laptop. So if Windows 10 is not compatible for me, I can go to Windows 7. So what is the 7, 10 and all this thing? They're versions. For Windows operating system, they have some versions. Similarly, WhatsApp, similarly Amazon, take any game. Most of you play online games, right? They also have versions. What is that? Every new version has something new that comes up in the application. So that is a version in real time. Okay. So same thing in PEGA. Okay. So when we build a code, okay, we try to maintain the versions. So first time I have designed a screen, it will be version 1. Client came up with a new requirement. I enhanced it. It will be version 2. Client came up with a new enhancement again. It will be version 3. I got a defect. So I will fix it and I'll launch version 4. So like this, every time you either do a new enhancement or you do a defect fix, we come up with new versions. Okay, why new versions? Why can't you update the same existing code? The only reason is if I want to do a backup, where is my backup? So that is the reason we maintain versions. Version 1, old code. Version 2, new code. Version 3, again new code. Version 4, again new code. So if I want to roll back, I can simply roll back. Okay, so that's the use of a version in real time. Just like your apps have versions. Okay, same concept here. So I have written an example here. Suppose I have a flow called as registration. Okay, now I got a requirement to update the flow and deploy it. Okay, let's say after deploying we got a defect, and the defect is very big defect. They asked us to roll back the code. They said like immediately roll back the code. My application is breaking because of a defect. No, I can't simply roll back the code because I will not remember whatever I have done in the last 3 months, right? So rolling back is not so easy. Whereas if I had a backup copy of that code, it's quite easy, right? I can delete the existing code and keep the backup copy back in its place. So then it becomes easy for me. So that is the reason in real time we maintain versions, so that if something goes wrong, you can bring the older version into the picture and just make your application up and running like it was earlier. Any questions so far? Anyone? Any questions so far?
Does
Nikhil, I have
PEGA
one doubt.
Yes, Prashant.
Yeah, you are saying about the versioning and the issues when we going to the new futures of version. We
Mhm.
facing the some issue in the front end application. We can roll back with the help of the versioning
Right,
directly.
right.
No need of taking the backup of code.
No need to take backup. It's already maintained, right? See, version 1 has two rules. In version 3, suppose you have
Yes.
three rules. In version 4, suppose you have five rules. Now because of the fifth rule you got some issue and you want to go back, so just switch back to version, the prior version. That's it.
Yes. You said that we need to take the backup, right? No?
Just let
Because we are maintaining the source code for that every versioning.
no need to maintain backup. Maybe while speaking I said something like that. No need to maintain any backups.
Okay.
By default Pega maintains it.
Okay.
We need not take up any backups.
Thank you, Nikhil.
Yes, Suresh, you also had some question, right?
does PEGA has any its proprietary versioning tool or
Yes, Pega has its own versioning tool. We don't rely on any external tools for versioning.
okay, and it's inbuilt?
Yeah, it is. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So, yeah. Now let's move ahead and see how these versions work. Okay. So in Pega, okay, we have versions like this. It is nn-nn-nn. This is how we maintain the versions. So number-number-number. So first number we call it as major, second number we call it as minor, and third number we call it as patch. So if you look at the application here, look at this 111. Okay, so this is called as major version, this is called as minor version, this is called as patch version. Now how does that matter? Why can't we maintain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Why this 01 hyphen 01 hyphen 01? Why this syntax? Again, they have a purpose. Okay, so the purpose is generally if you get any small defects in your project, okay, you have to increment the last number. Okay, if you get a minor functionality change in the project, you have to increment the middle number. If there is a drastic change in the project, like you are moving from Pega 6 version to Pega 7 version, Pega 7 to Pega 8, or drastic change in the application, we increase the major version. Now what is the benefit with this? Benefit, I'll tell you once I start completing all these things. First of all, this is how we maintain the code. So first, for the very first time when I'm designing my code, I will keep my code in 01 hyphen 01 hyphen 01. Okay, I will create the rules. So after creating the rules, what will you do? You will deploy the code. Now answering non-technical people, guys, deploying the code means after you design the code. Okay, you design the code in your machine. Okay, now after the coding is completed, you move the code to another machine where testers are going to test it. So that is deploying it to QA, quality analysis. Testers will test it. After the testing is completed, if you got any defects, you fix it, and then you move the code to UAT. Here, business users will test it. You may or may not have SIT. This is another level of testing. And finally, production, where the actual users will start working on your project. So what does a developer do? They will do the coding first, deploy it to QA and UAT for testing, and finally production, where the users will work on your project. Now, so first version of your project is in 010101. Just a second. Now what happens next? You got some new requirement. Okay. Now what will you do? You will save as the code. Suppose out of the rules, you created some rules here. Out of this one or two rules need some update. So you save as the code into 02. Make your changes and deploy the code again for testing. Okay. Now let's assume that after deployment you got a major defect. Okay. And they want you to roll back the code. What you can do? Simply delete this. That's it. This is already there with the old code, right? This will work as expected. So this is the benefit of a version. So after coming till here, maybe there is something, a very big defect came in your project. Okay. You can simply delete this and the code will behave as it is with these two versions. Okay. So that is the benefit of having a version. You can always have a backup copy of the code. So you can simply delete this and the project will work as it was earlier. Okay. Now we keep on incrementing the versions like this: 01, 02, 03, 04, 05, 06, and so on till 99. We don't go till 100, only till 99. After you reach 99, increase the middle number and go again till 99. After that, increase the middle number. 03 will come. 01, 03, 99. So we keep on incrementing it. And after that, the first number will be incremented. Okay, this is a sequence, but theoretically, if there's any minor functionality changes, we have to increment the minor number. If there's a major change, we have to increase the first number. But in real time, generally, we are increasing only the patch numbers. No, we are not touching these things much. Okay, so generally, we keep on increasing only the patch numbers. We keep increasing. Okay, now how will PEGA identify, which rule to pick? Suppose I have a screen here called as registration with only two fields. After few days, the client came up with a requirement asking me two more fields. So same screen, I will do a save as and I'll add four fields here. Okay. Again, after few more days, client came up with a new requirement asking me five fields. Same screen, I will save as here and I'll make the changes. So same rule is present in 01, 02, 03. Here five fields are there. Here four fields are there. Here two fields are there. PEGA will always pick the highest version of the code. So if same rule is lying in 1, 2, 3 versions, PEGA will execute 03 version. Okay, so PEGA takes care of that. They always pick the highest copy of the code or highest version of the code. Okay, so this is how we maintain versions in PEGA. If you look at your project, okay, so you're going to create a version like this. Create. Okay, and so on and on. You keep creating versions. And the rules will be here. You can see the rule count here. Any questions on versions, guys? Next one would be
Nikhila, Jitin here.
Hey Jitin.
One question.
Yes, please.
So you said, right, we are introducing more fields in different iterations. So how does the data part, right, when the user submits the data, how does PEGA handle the data part then?
Data always go to your server. Upon submission, data is posted to the server and then to your database. So PEGA takes care of that.
Yeah. Say if a user submitted the form with 5 fields and in the next release we deprecated 2 fields and then the user uses the application, how does that
You will remove it from the screen, right? It's only there in the database. So now it's your turn whether to use the data or not. If you don't want to use the data, don't pull it from the database and use it.
Okay.
It is just stored in the database. If you don't want it, don't pull it and don't display it. Right?
Okay,
What is
thank
the check? That's common, right? Any tool or technology do the same thing. If you want to capture the data, then it may be like a big issue. Let's say
you.
uh, f-
Yeah.
in the initial days you didn't have a drop down called as country, so hundreds
Hmm.
of work objects are created. Now you introduce a drop down called as country. How can I get data for the old work objects is an issue. But if you already
Yeah,
have
that's
the
right.
data, there's no issue. If you don't want to use it, don't use it. That's it.
In that case, the one that you mentioned, right? How do you handle that?
We depends on the project.
Oh.
If my project is still launched only in one country, we
Hmm.
blindly map the country name in all the work objects, open them, update them, and save them. If it is launched in different countries, then you have to identify some variables to determine which country it is. So that's an issue.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Okay. Anyways, coming back to the existing topic. So once again, a quick recap, guys. Rule set is nothing but
Yeah, hi, Nikhila.
oh, please, I'm in a recap. Just allow me a minute. So rule set is just a collection of rules, okay? And every rule set will have a lot of versions. Now, why do you have versions? Just to maintain a backup copy of the rule, so that tomorrow if something goes wrong, I can just delete that version and come back to the previous version so that my project will work as it was earlier. So versions have three parts: major, minor, patch. Generally, excuse me, generally in real time we are going on increasing the patch versions only, but theoretically what they say is major is for excuse me once. Theoretically, what this is, major has to be incremented when there's a drastic change in application, major changes like you're upgrading your project from PEGA 6 to 7, 7 to 8. Minor is like minor functionality changes, and patch is like for defect fixes. But in real time, we follow this Scrum Agile, right? We constantly increment the patch versions only. We are not touching minors and majors. Okay, so every new defect, every new release, you just keep on incrementing the patch version. Okay, and yeah, this is what I have discussed so far. Still, there is a lot to discuss on this. Somebody has a question, please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Nikhila. Like in the application, we have different rule sets, right? So if we same rule exists in the top child as well as in the parent also, the top one will be picked first one, right?
Right. It depends on the context. Suppose I'm calling a rule from this context. This will be picked. What if you're calling a rule from this context? And if you don't have that rule here, from here it will be picked. Okay. So from which level you're calling matters.
Okay.
Okay. Now coming back to the versions again. So you're creating versions and all these things, you're good. As I told you, after doing coding, what will a developer do? They will deploy the code to QA first, where testers will test. Then they will deploy it to UAT, where again business users will test. And then they will deploy into production, where the actual people are going to use your application. This for non-technical people, guys. This answer is for non-technical people. What is QA, what is UAT, and what is production? See, Pega software will be installed on multiple machines or multiple servers. Okay, so on one server, they will call it as dev. So in the URL also you will see it, it will be written as dev, means where developers will work. On other server, it will be written as QA. So that is for testers to test. On other server, the URL we will be having it is UAT, where business users will test. On another server, the URL will have the word as production, where the actual end users are going to work on it. So like this, the software Pega will be installed on various machines. So each machine is for a group of people, or each URL is given to a group of people. Developers in dev environment, testers in QA environment, business users in UAT environment, and actual users in production environment. So after developing the code, we push the code to various environments so that people can test it. Okay. So just like how now if you manufacture a car or if you manufacture a mobile, they have to undergo a lot of tests, right? Before you actually give it to the users. Same way code also, we we test it in all possible ways to see if the code breaks in any way. If it doesn't break, only then we give it to the end users. Okay. Now, maximum till 99 you're going on incrementing the versions, right? Now we'll talk about rule set locking, guys. Okay, this is another example here. You can see, suppose I'm working for Jan release. Okay, now again, for non-technical people, this is every time we develop the code. Okay, we don't deploy the code whenever I wish to deploy. Okay, so we follow a pattern. Some people have every week release, some people have every month release, some people have every quarter release, some people will have every year release. What do you mean by release? Release means giving your code to the end users so that they can start working on the project. Okay. Mostly in my project now we follow every month release. Means every month we work on some new requirements and defects, and in the month end we give the code to production so that the users can start working on it. Okay. Now this is an example. Suppose I'm working for what is next July, August release. Suppose I'm working for August release. Okay. Means as a part of August release, I'll work on some requirements. I'll work on some defects. Now let's say in total in 010101 version, I have 10 rules. Okay. Now out of 10 rules, I have to update 2 rules. Okay. So I updated them. Now after updating, what do? You deploy the code, okay, and then QA will test it. Now let's say after QA testing it, they told me, hey Nikhila, you missed this scenario. This is not working as expected. Oh, then they told, okay, I'll fix it. So what will I do? I will create another version 03. I will update the rules and I will deploy the code. So like this, out of 10 rules, first I took 2 rules, I updated them. Then I took again 5 rules, I updated them. So only the rules which you want to update, we do a save as and we update. Okay. Because in the rule 1, in the version 1, I have 10 rules. I don't save as all the 10 into 03. Again, I don't save as all the 10 into 03. No, I don't do that. Out of 10, whatever I want to make a change, I will save as, make the change. Again, I want to make a change, save as, make the change. Or I want to create some new rules, create them and make the changes. So like this, we make the changes and that's it. And then we deploy the code and then it undergoes testing and finally it will go to the production. Okay. So Amazon, Myntra, Instagram, Facebook, whatever you all people are using is production because we are the users of their application. Dev, QA, UAT will be within the company. The employees of the company will be using it to test it. Okay. Now, any questions on this so far, guys?
Yeah, Nikhila, now you've set 10 rules, right? On the first rule. So when you come to the second, will it be like 12 rules or will it only count as 2 rules?
No, it will be 12 rules. I mean, like if you added
Okay.
2 new rules here, it will be 12 rules. See, if you can see here, you can see this, take any Pegasus OTB. Okay, let me take mine only. See here, let's say here I have 5 rules. Here I have introduced 3 new rules. The count will increase. So it is like a rule set has total 5 rules, maybe 3 here and 2 here. So like that it is overall rule count.
And if you like delete couple of rules which you might think are not relevant,
You can
so
delete.
so in the next patch it would be 8 rules, right, instead of 10?
As I told you, you did not copy all the rules. So initially maybe you created 10 rules here. Out of this 10, I have to update only 2 rules. So those 2 I will copy here. Out of this 2, I have to update only 1. That 1 I will copy here. So whatever you want to update, you copy it to the new version and you make the changes. That's it.
So deleted rules, then no need again to keep it, right?
Deleted means they're deleted. That's it. They're gone.
Okay, got it.
So the new one will go to the testing and other
Yes. Only
production
the
and
new
all those.
ones only the new ones we deploy. Old ones they will also be
Okay.
present in QA, UAT, and production, right? So whatever you have deployed earlier, it will be even in those environments as well. Only the new ones you have to redeploy.
Okay.
Yes, Nicola, I have one doubt.
Yes, please.
Yeah, can you go to the application? Can you go to step back? Yeah, here for each rule set we are having some we are adding extra version, right? The patch version. After adding that, we need to add here as well the patch or
Right.
inside this rule set.
Very good question. So, Gauri, are you technical or non-technical?
Uh,
Background, I'm asking.
Background is not it.
Very good question, but okay. So, guys, did you observe this? I said every rule set has major, minor, and patch version. Okay, so it's a
And
good
there's no
question. So, where is the
battery.
patch version? Why didn't we mention the patch version? How come you give only major and minor and leave it? Right? Even I forgot to
Uh,
mention this point. Yes, somebody has an answer.
and maybe, yeah, maybe because Nikhila, we want to cover all the patch version. Like if we just add major and minor version, right, it will cover the patch version as well. No need to update the rule set
Mm,
for simple patch version again and again.
right, exactly. So let me rephrase the answer and explain to everyone. So, good answer for him. So the thing is, guys, just like I told you, if you don't add a rule set here, application will not consider the rule set. Similarly, generally how it works is, let me mute everyone. There's a background noise. How the application works is, suppose you gave like this 0 1, and you also gave here 0 1, and you also gave here 0 1, and 0 1, and 0 1, and so on. Okay, so let's say like this you have written it. Now, as a part of my August release, okay, under under STR travels, I created 02 and 03. Now you have to come and mention that here. If you do not mention it, okay, then the code which is there in 03 and 02 will not be picked at runtime. Suppose if you mention 010103, which means that all the code which is present till 03 version will be a part of your application and it will be executed at runtime. Suppose a developer forgot to mention, he forgot to update this. What will happen? Although you have kept some code in 02 and 03, they will not be picked. They will not be used at runtime. Now the developer has to break his head thinking like why it is not working. Simple. You didn't update it in your application. So they will not consider the code which is present in 03 and 04 version. So every time, please remember, if you introduce a new version, you have to come and update it here. For any rules that you have to do that. Now that's a tedious task, right? Every time you like August release, September release, November release, December release, for every single release, whatever rule sets I have used, I have to come and update the versions here. My colleagues have used, they have to come and update the versions here. Okay, so there is a high chance that either you or your colleague will forget it sometime to update here. Then the code will not work. The deployment will fail. So PEGA has given an easy thing for us. So what PEGA told us is don't give the last number like this. Don't give the last number. Okay, now what is the benefit of not giving the last number? That patch version. What is the benefit of that? The benefit is if you do not give the last number, they will take it till 99, which means till 010199. Okay, keep on adding like this. Okay, 04. Okay, like this till 99. Whatever rules you have created, they will consider everything. Now, what after 99? 010201 will come. Then you have to come and update it. Otherwise, PEGA will not consider your code. So that is the benefit. So if you don't mention anything till 99, they will consider all the code. So at least for an year or something, you guys can chill. No need to come and update it for every single release, right? So that's the benefit, and that is the reason we do not mention the patch versions in the application rule form. If you start mentioning for every single release, you have to come and update it. Okay, better not to mention. Okay, that is why we don't. Now that does it answer your question?
Can we ignore the minor version as well? Like if we add only the major
Uh,
version?
no, 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 no. We have to mention the majors and minors. Patch is ignorable. Okay. But a good question. I forgot to mention this. Very good question. Any other questions, Vivek? Somebody with the name Victus, do you have any questions? The person with the name Vivek, just Vivek, not Vivek Vardhan. Vivek, any question? No questions. Okay.
Yeah.
Yamini, any questions? Yes, yes, please.
How to determine the topmost or childmost rule set here in the sequence, or how to determine the sequence of adding the rule sets in?
You see, as you keep learning, Bhagya, and you start working on the project, you'll understand that. Because when you introduce a rule set, as you are the developer, you know the purpose of it. What is the purpose of it? Based on your purpose, you will decide. Okay, so based on the purpose,
Okay.
if I want this to be a child of everything, I'll keep it here. Parent of everything, I'll keep it here. In between, it depends. Depends purely on the purpose. What is the rule set and what is the code inside it? So based on that, it's not just you who will take the decision. The entire team, including your lead and everyone, you will decide where to keep it. So no worries.
Okay, Nikhil.
This is a major change, right? Adding a rule set as a parent or a child is like you're changing the base of the application. So all the people will be involved and the opinions matter. So we will decide based on all the opinions. Okay. Yesuraju Marapu, do you have any questions?
No, Nikhila, no, Nikhila.
Okay. So, guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me, because tomorrow when I ask you a question, your answer should be very clear. The answer should be in such a way that I should understand that you understood the concept. Because when I screen people, when I recruit candidates for my company, I can determine who has a real time experience and who has only that bookish theoretical knowledge. Your answer tells me, if suppose you go and ask a college fresher what is a class, they will tell you like class is a real world object. Then you ask them what is an object, they will say it's an instance of a class. That answer itself tells you, it's like very bookish knowledge. They don't have any real time experience. So similarly in Pega, I can determine who is having just that bookish knowledge, or something you read from a blog or something, and who has actually worked. So that is the reason I ask you questions every day in the session, because your answer should tell the recruiter that you have proper real time exposure. Don't give taglines, don't give theoretical bookish knowledge things and all. Tell me what you understood as per your hands on experience you got in the training. Okay, with the proper hands on, whatever you understood, that you have to explain. Okay, so any questions, please feel free to ask me. Don't by heart the definitions. Oh, we completely useless. People will clearly understand. They will say you need more hands on. So
Nikhila, I do have a question here.
yeah, please.
So we have like set of rule sets, right?
Mhm.
So is there a specific format? Like, do we need to have a hyphen here? We need to have a comma here? Or can we do it like as it is? Do we need like we
Rules,
need to follow this format only?
nothing specific like that. But throughout the industry, we just have it like these are actually I'm going to teach you layers down the lane. Okay, so for each layer we create rule sets, and these are the layer names. Go Ibibo is a layer name. SR Travels Transport is a layer name. SR Travels is a layer name. So we have layer names followed by this, like int means integration. Biz, we use a word called as biz. Biz means business rules. UI means user interface. So generally we follow like that, but it is not mandatory. But throughout the industry, everyone follows the same standard. But Pega didn't define that you have to do like this. No, that is not defined like that.
Got it.
Now one question.
Yes, please.
Now in the same display what you're showing, there is Go Avivo and SR Travels, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you are reusing the code of SR Travels to Go Avivo as well, or is it the same project, or
They are a
how is
part of
it?
the same project. They're all same project. I'm just, separating the rules. Like some rules here, some rules here, some here, some here. And these become the parent of all these.
Got it. So we can even reuse the any previous versions or other rule
Of
set in
course,
the
of
current
course.
project.
Yes, of course. Previous
Okay.
versions are also reusable.
Okay. Okay. Thank
Because
you.
even from a different project, can we use a rule set from different project? I don't think so,
Yes,
right?
you can use. How do you use it? Built on application, right? So Go IBO is built on Theme Cosmos. Theme Cosmos will have its own rule sets here. Here it will be present. So if you see this, all these rule sets can reuse the code of this one. Why? Because Go IBO's parent application is Theme Cosmos. So whatever rule sets are present in Theme Cosmos, all these can use it because they are the parents and these are the children. So they can use it. You don't define it here, you don't mention it here, but the relationship automatically comes because they are your built on applications.
No, that is fine, Nikhila. But like Go Abibo, I have one more for maybe Amazon, which is also built on Theme Cosmos, but not Go
Oh no,
Abibo.
they're like
So
no, they're like siblings, right? On Theme Cosmos,
then,
if you have Go IBO and Amazon, they're siblings. How can you use siblings? Like, can you inherit your brother's property? No, you can only inherit your parents' property. So not possible.
makes sense. But when you say Theme Cosmos, it's the base Pega
Parent.
code, correct?
It's the base Pega code, but if you even build your own application in real time and you make it as your built-on application, built-ons are your parents.
Okay, got it. So any redefinable or reusable components, you can make it as a parent at
Right. You use
organization
it.
level, and
You can reuse it. That's it.
makes sense. Thanks.
Okay. Okay, guys. Haripriya, do you have any questions on the topics completed so far?
No, Nikhila.
No. Okay. Okay. We'll take a break for 10 minutes, guys. Okay. And then after the break, we'll talk about, rule set locking. We completed rule set validation anyways. We'll talk about rule set working and the classes and inheritances will start after this. Okay. So it's 8:20 now, almost 8:20. Please take a break till 8:30 and we'll resume back.
Okay, Nikhila. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. No questions. Let's resume.
Hello, Nikhila. Hello.
Yes. Yes, Shivasai.
Actually, I have a question. So right now, if we make a newer version, is it interconnected with the older version, or else we need to copy the rule sets and the rules that are needed for the new version?
You have to copy the rules which you want to make use in the new version. So if you create a new version, it is empty. What is the use of it? So whatever rules you want to make changes, we copy them into the new version. We make changes, we save them, and then we test them.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Oh,
Any
hi,
other?
Nikhila.
Hey,
I have a
Bharti.
question.
Yes, please.
So, suppose if we update only few rule sets, part of release based on the requirement,
Hmm.
in that case, we will not change the entire app version, right?
Yes, yes. See, we don't touch all the rule sets which are present under your application for each release or for each requirement. Okay, that is because let's say, see, look at your application. You have 6 rule sets. Okay, why do I need to touch all the 6 rule sets? As a part of this release or as a part of a requirement or a defect, maybe I'll touch one rule set or one or two rule sets. Whatever I need to update, only those rule sets I'll update and I'll make changes. That's it. No need to touch
Okay,
everything.
under same parent version, we will change,
Not under same.
right?
I mean, like under Go IBBO, if 010101 is the existing version, I will create 02 or I'll create 03 or 04 and so on and we'll make the changes.
Okay.
I mean like 010101, 010102, 010103, so on. Like that patch version you will be incrementing.
So even for few rule sets as well, right?
Right.
Okay.
We need not touch all the rule sets, right? Because whatever requirement I have, where those rules are, only those you will touch. So they are maybe present in one rule set or two rule sets, whatever is it, only those you will don't need to touch all the rule sets. We don't do that.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Nikhila,
Yes, please. Yes.
Nikhila, if I want to make some changes in the minor version, okay, and already we have patch version also. The patch is also there. Like I'm making changes in the minor, but I want to include even patch also in that. Like how to copy that? I mean, how the convention will come, the rules and convention, how it looks like 0102.
Let me open some rule set and let's do it. Suppose if you take Go IBBO rule set, okay. Let's say you have another patch version 010102. Okay. Now you also incremented the minor version. For some reason, you incremented the minor version. See, a PEGA doesn't validate your sequence. Okay. From 010102, you can even jump to 99. PEGA will not ask you, like, why did you leave in between so many numbers? There is no such validation. Choice is yours. So I jump to 0201. Okay. Now, guys, please go on mute if you're not speaking. So now, if there is a code, okay, if there is a rule which is present in 01, 02, and 0201, PEGA will always pick the highest copy of that rule. Okay, so whatever is present here, it will be picked. This and this will not be picked. If the same rule is lying in three versions, whichever is the highest, that will only be picked at runtime. Okay, so if this is the highest, this will be picked at runtime. That's how it works.
So you mean to say automatically it will take 010201?
Yes, see how it works is, suppose I have 10 rules. Okay, for one rule, it is present only in 010101. Another rule, it is present in these two versions. So which is highest? This is highest, take it. Another rule, it's present in this, and this. Which is highest? This is highest, take it. Another rule is present in this and this, which is highest, this. So like that for every single rule, PEGA will check in which all versions it is present and which is the highest version, and they will execute it. For every single rule, they're going to do that.
But Nicola, anyway, if you are creating the additional patch version, almost the previous rules will be there, part of the latest version only, right? So it will pick
They will
the
not
latest
be, they
version.
will not be present. See, here I have 151 rules. Here I will keep only one or two rules. So this 151, I am not going to clone it, or I am not going to save as to this. Whatever I want to make the changes, only those rules I will save as, not all 151. No. So PEGA will identify, for every single rule what is the highest version, and they will execute it accordingly.
So Nikhila, if you are say if you are giving a number of if you are giving an input like 01, 01, 02. In the 02 you are making in the minor you are making some changes, okay, and you are just deploying the code. So in 0 in the patch version we have some changes. So how it will get copied? Like we are not doing anything here, no, because how it will get copied? That is my question.
You have to open the rule and save as the rule. Why will it get copied? Like suppose I have a rule. Let's take any rule which is there here. Okay, I'm just taking, so there is an activity. I'm taking this. Okay, this rule is present in 010101. You can look at this. It's in Go IBBO 010101 version. So I have to do a save as. Okay, and 1 minute. Okay, I'm creating 02 version now. Okay, so in the drop down, it's still not reflecting. Just a second. Okay, so I'm moving it to 02 like this. Create. So we clone it like this. So every time you need a new rule or a new change, you move it. Save. Now add a step. Whatever you want, just make the changes like this. Save
Got
it.
it.
So if you go back, refresh it. See, this has one rule, this has 151 rules. So PEGA will identify what is the highest copy of this rule and it will execute only that version. So like this, every rule will have its own highest version. Whichever is highest, PEGA will execute that.
Thanks, interview. I got it.
Okay. Anyone, any other questions?
Hi, Nikhila. So,
Hello.
if you like increase the minor version, like for suppose if we are in 0105, so we can access all the rules related to the lowest minor versions, right?
Of course, yes. See, that's what I tell you. Out of 151 rules, one rule is in 02, three rules will be in 03, five rules in it will be in 04. So they're like distributed. So PEGA will identify for every single rule what is the highest version. Maybe for some rule, 010101 is the highest version. For some rules, 010103 is the highest version. So like that they will identify. It's not necessary that all the 151 should be moved to 02 and 03 and 04, right? So that's how they work.
Yes, yes, got it. But if the major was updated to 02, do we need to clone it or it can access?
No, it will access.
Okay, got it.
Okay. But there is a process called as skimming. It is too early to discuss about all this now. But just understand that whether you increase majors or minors, PEGA will always identify what is the highest version of each rule and they will access it. No need to bring all the code to major version or no need to bring all the code to minor versions. Not required. Okay. In a certain scenario, we do that. That is called as skimming. I'll teach you down the lane. It's too early to talk about all those things.
Even you can create a new role in the latest
Of course,
version.
yes, we create new rules in the latest versions. So in 02, I can go create a new rule. No need to save as from the existing rules. I can even go and create a new rule like this. Whatever rule I
And when
want, I'll just do
that rule needs to
zero
be
02.
referred since it is the latest, it will be picked up.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Directly I can create in 02. This will not be present in the lower versions. Directly I'll start in the higher version. That's how we do.
Nikhila, one more question.
Yes, please.
So if there was any rule which was giving us trouble and we decided to remove that rule, it from 150 it has become to 151 to 150. So what would be the second version? Would all the 150 come down, or how will it show
No,
at that point?
see, we don't delete rules. Okay, there is a concept called as rule availability. Okay, there you will mark it as withdrawn. Okay, withdrawn means even if this rule is lying in n number of versions, please do not execute this rule. Okay, so there is a small setting.
Okay.
I'll teach you that later. That's how we do it. Because if you delete a rule in multiple versions, it is lying, right? And how many versions will you go and delete? So we don't do that. There is a
Correct.
small setting which mentions that this should not be executed any longer. That setting we will enable.
Got it. Thank you, Nikhil.
Okay. Now please pause your questions here, guys. I'll just switch to a new one and then we can again resume with the questionnaire. The next thing we are going to talk about is rule set locking. Okay. Now what is rule set locking? If you expand any rule set, you can see there's a lock button. Why should I lock it? Let's say, for example, we are all working for an August release. Okay. Now I am done with my coding. I deployed it to QA. Testers tested it. It is working as expected. Now it went to UAT. Business users tested it is working as expected. Now, before deploying the code, okay, when I'm done with my coding and I decided to deploy the code, okay, I should lock my rule set. Why I should lock my rule set? Let's say everything is working perfect. Okay. Now one of my juniors he came and he was, playing with the code and he just disturbed something. And suddenly overnight my functionality stopped working. Okay. Tomorrow I was supposed to deploy. This night, he did something and it broke my code. So that is the reason what we do is we lock the code. So once you're done with your testing and you're 100% sure you're ready to deploy the code, please lock it. So like this, you click on the lock button, give any password of your choice. Okay. I prefer to give it as rules. I'm giving it as rules and just say submit. Okay. So version 1 can have some password, version 2 can have some other password, version 3 can have some other password. You can give any password you wish. So in real time, people follow their own standards. Like, in some projects, we give the rule set name as, lock password. In some projects, they use rules. In some projects, rules, they will use the story number. For which requirement you're doing this, that requirement number, they'll give us the password. So please check with your team before you lock it. Ask them, what password do you follow? Okay. So we give that password and we lock it. Now, what is the benefit of locking? Just like how you lock your door. You lock your door, you're not letting the strangers to get in, right? The same way, once I lock my code, none of the team members can edit the code, save the code, delete the code, create new stuff in the code. They can't do anything in this version. So in this version, if I have 151 rules, none of these 151 rules can be deleted or updated, or new rules cannot be created in this version. So let's see how. Let's say I'm trying to create a new rule in that version. Okay, see 01 doesn't even display because it is locked. Similarly, out of this 151, pick anything. Okay, there is no save button. Do you see? So even if I make any change, okay, even if I make any change, there is no option to save, and you can see it is locked. So no edits, there is no delete button as well. No editing, no deleting, no creation of new rules. Okay, so like this, we lock our rule set once the coding is completed. Locking and unlocking. Do we unlock a rule set? No, it is not a good practice to unlock rule sets. So once you lock a rule set and you deploy the code and you got a defect, will you come back, unlock the rule set, fix the defect and redeploy? No, no, no. That is a very bad practice. Okay, never ever do that. If you got a defect, come back and create a new version 03, save as the rules, fix the defect, deploy it. Again got a defect, come back and create 04, save as the code, fix it, deploy it. Never unlock the code. It's a very bad practice. Okay, you should never unlock the code. And the password, check with your team. Every team follows a different strategy. So whatever they follow, you have to. Nikhila, what if I forgot the password? There is an OOTB activity which you can run to unlock the rule sets. Okay, you will learn all that down the lane. So using that, you can unlock it and you can do the things. So this is called as rule set locking. So rule set locking means once you're done with your coding and everything is working as expected, we lock it. So once it is locked, no further changes are allowed. Okay. So any questions on this?
It's just a best practice which is followed across organizations. Otherwise, if you have some bad intentions, you can use a password to unlock and update it, correct?
Yes, you can.
It
You
doesn't
can.
stop.
You can unlock and update it.
But it's generally a standard followed across that you
Right.
don't.
Right, you don't unlock it because we also want to maintain a backup copy, right? See, because you got a defect, you unlocked and you fixed it. But with this fix, maybe something else is broken. So, how do you get a backup copy of the code now? So, it's always better to have a new version so that if you want a backup, you will have a backup.
So that locking mechanism is just a safety net so that somebody doesn't do it
Doesn't,
actively.
right. Because maybe you are done with your coding in the July first week. Okay, your deployment is in the July last week. In between, what if somebody messes up with it? So just lock it and keep it safe. Okay. Then we spoke about rule set validation already, rule set validation, application validation. So that's the theory for this. Now, any questions so far, guys? We'll do a quick recap, okay? Just a quick recap of what we have discussed today. So we started with application in PEGA. Application in PEGA is just a collection of rule sets. Now, what is a rule set? It's a collection of rules. What is the rule? Any piece of code which you can execute, like a function, a method, a class, a flow, a report, a decision. All these are rules. Okay. Now, rule sets have something called as, oh, before that, the sequence of rule sets in the application rule does matter. The topmost rule sets are the children rule sets, and the bottommost rule sets are the parent rule sets. Okay, so children rule sets can reuse the code which is present in the parent rule sets. Now every rule set will have something called as versioning. What is versioning? Just to maintain backup copy of the code, we maintain versions. So versioning is like this. major hyphen minor hyphen patch. Theoretically, they say you have to increment majors for major functionality changes, minor for minor functionality changes, and patch for defects. But in real time, we constantly increase the patch versions. Okay. Now, like this, you'll have versions, you'll have some rules under them. Whenever you want to make any changes, you either save as the rules or you create a new rule in the new version and you make the changes. Once you're done with your changes, please lock it and then you deploy the code to the next environment. If you get any defects, again create a new version and do it. If you get a new enhancement, create a new version and do it. Okay, and PEGA always picks the highest version of that rule. Suppose the same rule is present in 010101, it's present in 010103, it's present in 010110. So what is the highest version? 10. So they will pick 10th version. Like that, they will always pick the highest copy of that rule if that rule is present in multiple versions. Then we have something called as rule set validation and application validation. Rule set validation is now deprecated. According to rule set validation, for every single version, okay, you have to mention who are your parent rule sets like this. Every version you have to do, like this, but every version you have to do, which is quite tedious. Okay, so what they came up with is application validation, which means the sequence of rule sets that you mentioned here will be considered as the parent and the children rule sets. Okay. Now, one more important thing, guys. Do I need to mention this, maintain this sequence? No. See, after 010102, you can jump to 05. PEGA is not going to throw any error. Okay. The sequence is your choice. PEGA will not throw any error. Nikhila, why do you miss the sequence? Why do we leave some versions in between? We have our own reasons in real time. So what happens is, suppose right now I'm working for August release. I'm using 02 version. Okay. After August, okay, September, October, November, let's say we don't have any work. So there are no releases planned. Okay. Maybe I have my next release in December. Okay. So after August release coding is completed, I got my requirements for December release and I started working on it. Now I could have worked on 03 version, but why did I create 05? The reason is still there is a long time, right? December I'm going to deploy the code. What if there is some emergency defect that has come up in between? Okay, and I have to fix it. If I don't have 03, 04 versions, where will I keep my code? You can say, Nicola, you can create 04 version or 05 version and you can deploy. Okay, but always remember that PEGA will pick the highest version of the code. So let me write down what I'm trying to teach you. Okay, see, 010101, I have deployed the code. Okay, now I'm working on 010102. This is for August release. I deployed the code. Okay, after August release, let's say I created 010103 and my next is for December. I'm working. Okay, December release, I'm making some changes to the code. Suddenly I got a defect. Okay, this is still work in progress. Okay, this is still work in progress. I'm still working on this. Okay, now I got a defect. It's a very high priority defect, emergency defect. So I created 04 version. Okay, and I deployed the code. Okay, now if you go to QA environment, what all versions you will have in QA? These two versions you will have because they are already deployed. Okay, so in QA environment, okay, 010101 will be present, 010102 will be present, and 010104 is present. 03 is not present. Why? Because it is still work in progress. That is for December release. In between, I have an emergency defect. I fixed it and I deployed. So 03 is missing. Guys, please go on mute. Guys, Nagraj, please go on mute. Okay, so like this we deployed it. Okay, now December came. Okay, so in the month of December I deployed 03. Okay, now let's say what will PEGA do? PEGA will always execute the highest copy of that rule. Suppose here you have a rule called as, you know, claims report. Okay. Here also you have that same thing, claims report. Okay. So this was deployed in the month of August when you got some defect. This was deployed in the month of December. Now, what will PEGA do if you try to execute claims report? According to PEGA, the highest copy of that code should be picked, which means this code will be picked. When was it deployed? August. When was this deployed? December. So, which is latest code? December one is latest code. But why is PEGA picking August code? Because of the version. So, that is the reason what we people do is after August release, if you're working for any other later releases, please leave some empty versions in between. So after 02, we will not use 03, will not use 04, will not use 05. At least 2 or 3 versions we'll leave it and we go to 05 or 06 or something. So if in case if I get any defects or any issues, I will use 03, 04, 05. What if I don't get any defect? No problem. We leave them empty. We will proceed. What is wrong if those versions are not there? Nothing is wrong. It's not required that I have to fill in every single version. Okay, so that's okay. If you want, you will use them. If you don't want, you will just lose those versions. That's okay, no problem. Okay, or worst case, what you can do in the month of December, whatever code you have written in 06, move it to 03 version and deploy it. If you haven't used 0304, move it to 03 and deploy it. That's it. So like this, after every release, we leave some versions in between so that worst case scenario, if some defect comes or emergency releases come, we can use them. Okay. Any questions on this one, guys?
Yeah, Nikhila, previously we spoke that sometimes we don't write the version numbers, right? We leave it idle, just at major and minor. So
Yeah.
is that the reason why they leave it idle? Yeah, here.
No, that is not the reason. The reason we leave it idle is, as I told you, every time you create a new version, you have to come and update it here. Like today I created 01, come and update. Later on you create 02, come and update. Then 05, you come and update. It's like every time you have to come and update. What if you forget it? The code will not work. So better leave it like this till 99 it will work. For some time you can relax.
Okay.
So Nikhila, this will be applicable if we have a gap in the releases, right? Then only
Of
we can
course, see,
skip
till
the.
99 they will consider everything. You're asking about that one or this one? You're asking about this one?
No. Yeah. In the notes, like what you
Even
mentioned,
even
right?
if you don't have a gap in between the release also, still it is safe to leave one version or two versions in between, considering any emergency defects. See, even you're working for August release and then you're working for September release. What if before September release I got some emergency issue to be fixed overnight? No, then better to have a version empty in between so that you can utilize it. Again, yeah, see, I don't want to talk too much about all these things, but it depends on the project. See, some projects are very critical projects. You can expect any defect anytime. Those projects will leave versions. Some projects are, chill. They don't get any defect. They're very stable. In those cases, we don't leave any empty versions in between. So as you keep working in real time, you'll understand, in what scenarios you need to leave and what scenarios you don't need to leave. Okay. Any questions, guys? We are at the top of the hour. 2 more minutes. Any questions?
Nikhila, one question.
Yes,
When you
please.
talk about Q&A, like the testers, usually the testers I know or whatever I relate to the industry are automation testers like Selenium, Jira, and Java. Are there any specific testers in PEGA or because
Same, same.
in the others, in other versions, in Angular or React, you write the code, they tell that your code is wrong here or wrong there, and they resend it back. But in PEGA, I don't think we write the code, we deploy the rules, right?
Right. We
So
deploy the rules.
how would they?
See, testing remains the same like in any other project. Like they do many manual testing, or they write scripts using the Selenium and all, and they will test it. But they don't tell me like my code is wrong here and all that. No, no. They only write scripts to do the bulk testing and all. Automation
Okay,
testing,
got
I
it.
mean.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So Bharati, any questions? Divya, any questions? Amar, any questions?
No questions, Nikhila.
No, Nikhila, I'm good.
Okay.
Nikhila,
Yes, Haripriya.
suppose there is a rule that is there in the 010102.
Okay.
That rule set is logged.
Mm-hmm.
After that, if we want to use any rule in that rule set 010102,
Okay.
uh, we have to save as that rule and we have to do the modifications.
Exactly.
That's
Right.
it.
That's it.
Okay.
You're right. Editing,
Yeah,
deleting,
thank you.
creating in a locked rule set version is not possible. But you can do a save as into a new version, make changes, do whatever you want in the new version, not in the locked version. That's it.
Okay. Thank you, Nikhila.
Super. Vivek Vardhan, any questions? Yes, Raju Marrapu, any questions? Guys, any questions? Vivek and Yes, Raju? Yes, Raju went offline. He don't want to answer me. Vivek, any questions?
No questions as of now,
No
Nikhila.
question. Yamini, any questions? Yamini, you don't want to speak? Okay. Okay, guys, then if no questions, that's it for today. So I'll share you the recording and the materials. Okay. And those who are not done with the installation, please make sure you complete it before next session. Most probably, the fourth session will start the practicals. Okay. Please make sure everything is ready. Okay. Okay, guys, then for the next session, you will receive a new meeting link. Okay. Please join on that and continue that throughout the training.
Nikhila, so there is no tomorrow. There is no session, right?
Yes, for this weekend, tomorrow there is no session because we have 3 trial sessions. So now who are the
That
pending with enrollment, I request them to enroll. And from the next session, there's a separate meeting link and we'll be continuing on that.
okay, Nikhila. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Have a nice weekend, guys. Bye bye.
Have,
Thank you.
have a good weekend, Nikhila.
Thank you,
Nikhila,
you
just a
Yes,
too.
question.
yes, you're audible.
Hi, Nikhila.
Hey, please tell me.
Vivek.
Yeah.
So from next sessions, as the timings you mentioned, that is like Friday 7 to 9 and Saturday,
Exactly.
Sunday 7 to 10.
7 to 10, it will be right.
Yeah, okay, sorted.
Okay. See, initial 1 or 2 days, maybe we'll wrap up at 9 because, it will be too much theory if I talk for 3 hours. So once we start the practical, we'll start stretching till 3 hours.
Yeah, okay. Okay, Nikhila.
Hi, Nikhila.
Okay, guys. Hello.
Hello. Excuse me, that's meaning the next session will be on Wednesday,
Next
not
Friday?
tomorrow.
No, Friday. For this week, because we are still in the
Ah,
trial sessions, I'm wrapping up for this week on Saturday. But when from
okay.
next week, it will be like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and the timings that I have conveyed to you.
Okay, great.
Okay. Super.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.